Oh man, do I love food. The LA Times even took notice after I ate at Hugo's nearly every day for 32 years. It was just blocks from my home in West Hollywood. And now I've moved to the motion picture and television fund here in Woodland Hills. And my obsession for good meals continue to simmer. Join me as I explore our food options here on the Wasserman campus. Hello, and again, thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, Phil.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure. You know, in doing some checking on you and reading about you, your travels have really been incredible. You have been to so many places, and I was wondering if there were any particular food experiences that you remember or are particularly fond of.
Well, I'll tell you, the one that comes to mind right away, I've been to Japan a number of times, and so I fell in love with the food in Japan. First of all, the way it's prepared, but also just the food itself. So I've been but I love other kinds of food as well. But what comes to mind in talking about this is food in Japan, and also the way it's presented and prepared. Everything is beautiful in Japan, and so the food is beautiful to look at too before you even touch it. You know, so it's Japanese food, absolutely.
No. Well, I have enjoyed Japanese food. I do agree with you. I have not had the pleasure of going over to Japan, so I haven't had the real quote unquote Japanese food.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, the thing that comes to mind and always struck me from my very first time in Japan is the courtesy of the culture. Everyone is so courteous and pays attention to what people need, and again the service that we get no matter where we go to eat in Japan. The service, because of the courtesy, is a part of the experience, and then just the presentation of the food. It's all because of the culture and the courtesy of that culture, which I really love. It makes everything more memorable, really. But you know, I've been to other parts of the world where I love other kinds of food as well. I love curry. I got hooked on curry when I was first time in London because you know there were lots of Indian restaurants in London,
yeah.
And I also love Mexican food as well. But the food in Japan, because it's a variety of things, because they cook Western things there as well. But again, it's just everything is so beautifully presented, and again the culture is so courteous, and so presentation is important to them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've had the pleasure of eating in the area in London. Yeah. That has the quite a few Indian restaurants.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun, and a lot of good Indian restaurants.
Great stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I've worked in London a number of times, so I've had really long periods of time spent in London. I remember once there was an Indian restaurant not too long from where I was living. And I went there to get a curry to take home, and I got it really hot, and it was I had to eat it really slowly. It was so hot, but it was delicious. It was delicious.
Do you, when you find a situation there that's so hot, is there any particular thing that you take? Do you sip a little milk or?
Probably, I'm guessing now, but I think what I did was I probably sipped something cool, like maybe just water, or maybe I was having a glass of wine at the same time. I'm guessing, but anything that would help bring down the temperature of your tongue.
Well, I also note that with all of your eating, that you're coming out with a brand new book.
Yeah, it's the title won't surprise you. It's called My West Side Story. It's the publishers who selected the title, and I was fine with it. Yeah, it's called My West Side Story, and it's just it's a review of lot of years of experience, pretty experience in the different parts of the world that I've traveled to for work, and of course here in the States as well. So it's really it's about my family and it's about me. When I think back of what I think the book finally is, it's about all the wonderful people I've had the great opportunity to meet, to
Mhm.
work with, and to get to know. So I hope it's about people because I think that's what matters.
Mhm. No, no, that's sensational. Well, you also have been a busy individual doing your jewelry.
Yeah, that happened. Yes, I have I sell jewelry online. I also sell in a wonderful department store in Japan, of all places. But So the jewelry thing for me, I'm really lousy keeping track of time. But it started quite a long time ago, just as a hobby, and it's something that really fell in love doing. Something creative and something where you could create pieces that you could actually hold in your hand when all was said and done.
Mhm.
And so I still have. It's a very small business, but it's more than enough for me to handle. But yes, my jewelry. I I think I have kind of a nice jewelry line. I mean, I obviously, I guess I'm pleased with the pieces that I've created and put out there, or I wouldn't put them out there. But there's a lot of pleasure to be had. I guess all of us, no matter who we are, most of us have a hobby apart from what our career makes us do. Some people, Tony Bennett, for example, is a great painter. Anthony Quinn, same. And so we all have other creative outlets that we love, whether it's painting. With me, it's I've also done painting, but the main thing for me has been my line of sterling silver jewelry. There's just great pleasure in and I guess in being an artist, and also just being creative in some way. The wonderful thing about what being an actor and a performer is it's a creative process. It's a creative job, so to speak. So anything else that is creative that helps us use our creative juices is always a blessing. So I love. I really enjoyed creating my sterling silver jewelry collection. It's been great fun.
Well, you have a sensational or terrific website. I certainly
Thanks.
did take a look at it, and you had some. When you speak of creative, I would pat you on the back. Yes, terribly creative
Yeah,
and,
thanks. Thank you
and
so
very
much. Thanks.
positive. No, no, it's really terrific. Do you have any favorite restaurants or places at home here that you enjoy
Wow.
eating? Or
In the last, with COVID,
right?
these last months, we haven't been to restaurants pretty much, because we had to be careful and stay home. Just, I'll tell you what. And I'm having dinner with a friend tonight at 6:30 at Chez Mimi in in in. In Santa Monica. Chez Mimi used to be in Brentwood. It was a really hot place that my friend Phyllis Diller and all kinds of people went to. And they shut down for a small amount of time and they now resurfaced at Chez Mimi in Santa Monica. It's a great restaurant. I've only been there once at the new location, but it's a great chef, great food, lovely atmosphere. Everything about that place but the food is sensational at that particular place. And, small world apartment. I'm having dinner there tonight with a really good friend. Yeah.
Oh. Now, and their food is basically, does it come from any particular place, or is there any?
Wow. Well, I'll tell you. In the times I've been there, I usually end up getting the same thing. I find one thing that I like, and then when I go back, I keep ordering the same thing. And what I had the last time I was there, I think sand dabs. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah, and their dish of sand dabs is always has been quite. Phyllis always got sand dabs whenever we went to Chez Mimi in Brentwood. So that's what I tried at this new location the last time I was there, maybe a month ago. And that's probably what I'll have tonight.
Uh-huh.
But I think it's kind of European cuisine, I'm guessing, because I haven't paid attention to the entire menu. I've just focused on a couple of things and that I keep getting when I go back.
Mhm. Well, you're like me. One of my favorite restaurants, Musso and Frank Grill,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm hung up on broiled chicken.
Well, Musa, Frank, and I'll tell you, small world. I'm having lunch. It's either tomorrow or the next day at Musa Frank with other friends. It's Musa Frank is a great place. I usually end up getting a hot turkey sandwich,
Right?
which is I really love the gravy and all of that, and the food at Musa Frank's is really wonderful. But one of the beautiful things I guess we all know about Musa Frank, it's been there for such a long time. It has a real history and an atmosphere that you can still feel. You can feel all those writers that were there in the 30s and 40s and so on. It's you walk in and that's part of the experience.
Yes, they don't want to change a thing.
Yeah.
They're adding on. I don't know if you know, in the larger room, they've purchased the storefront that was
Uh-huh.
next door.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So they have that available for private rooms and
Yeah.
added dining room, and it's going to be quite a space.
Yeah, but one of the you've just said that they don't like to change anything. I love that because we're in a world where things are changing constantly and a lot. So it's wonderful to go back to someplace that hasn't changed. It's like going home, and that's one of the great things about Musso Frank. Yeah.
Yes. No, no, absolutely. And one of the few restaurants that will deal in broiled chicken
Yes.
because it's the time that it takes to prepare.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but they do it, and I think they have, gee, one of the finest broiled chickens around.
Okay, well, you know what? It's making me think. So instead of going back and getting the same thing I always get, I should think about the broiled chicken. That's probably what I'll if I remember it, I have for lunch tomorrow, the next day, whatever what day it is. Because I love chicken, but broiled chicken sounds, especially by them, sounds really wonderful.
Let me, if I may suggest, add
Okay.
some garlic.
Oh, please. You can't have too much garlic for me.
Uh, they yeah, in the garlic department, if you mention it to them, they'll
Okay.
be
Okay.
absolutely.
Thank you for letting me know because I'll make a point of that because anything with garlic is to me is even better than without garlic.
Sure.
Garlic is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, really. No, it's one of my favorite places. So
Yeah.
it's really been a pleasure. Have you had a pleasure to be on the grounds here? Have you ever been out to MPTF, our little village out here?
No, I have never been there. It's a bit of a drive for me to get there. Walter Mirish's son, Larry, is a good friend of mine, and Larry is always seems to know everything about the motion picture home and everything that's going on out there. And we've talked a couple of times of going out for a visit because I hear it's really beautiful, but I've never actually been able to get there myself. But I know it has a great reputation, of course.
It's a very special place, and
Yeah, yeah,
the facility, the 20 acres, the three residential facilities. There are some other facilities on the property, but yeah, it's quite a thing, and so many folks have continued to support it, and that's just very kind of everybody. But when
well,
you have time,
it is kind. It's important, and it's. I think it's important that people do support it because of how it helps so many people. That's helping people is a primary concern, I think, for all of us, no matter what's going on.
mm-hmm. No, no, absolutely. It's I've been here for 6 years,
Wow.
and yeah, and the time, as we say, time flies, but
Yeah.
it really does.
Yeah.
It's very special, very different, and a lot of folks, of course, everybody here in the residential, in the resident situation, are all folks who have been in motion pictures and television in
Yes.
one form or another. And so it's just terrific.
Yeah, you know, Karen Kramer is a friend, and of course, her husband Stanley Kramer, I think, was a resident at the Motion Picture Home. So that speaks highly of it to me altogether, because it's we all need a place to go, and a place that we can depend on. And just looking at what I see around you, I mean, it's, you have your own apartment, your own home. I mean, it's fantastic.
This is, yes, this, I happen to be in the lodge. I also, by the way, know Karen. You must give her my very best.
Okay.
And
Okay.
yeah, I haven't seen her in a long time, but we go
Sure.
way back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's a wonderful, wonderful lady.
She is. She is. Yeah.
And her daughter,
Kat. Yeah. She's great too. Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I think Kat is involved. Well, one of the things that Kat is, I think, is involved in is animals, and of course that's I'm an animal lover, and so I love anybody who takes care of, protects, adopts, and work like Doris Day. She spent a long time, you know, with the Doris Day Fund, or whatever it was called, but caring for animals, and I really admire people who care enough to actually do something about that.
Mm-hmm. No, that's always very nice, because
Yeah.
I'm an animal person.
Yeah.
Of course, we're limited here as to, you know, if you have animals, a lot of it depends on the size and what it is, because you can't have in the three facilities. There's the cottages, there's the lodge where I am, and there's the villa. And so, depending on where you're going to be, it depends on what you will have allotted to, and what you will be able to, how shall I say, bring with you in the animal department.
Once you're living there, let's say you go there without an animal, in the process of just being there, could you decide, I'd like to have an animal and have that be okay?
It depends on the circumstance. It depends where you are.
Okay.
Depends on the animal. I'm told, or at least they've told me of late, that camels and elephants are out of the question. And so that's where we have a problem.
Okay.
Kangaroos might be out of the question, but you know, depending on, there are cats that are allowed in some places, in other places. So it's all relative to you and your situation, and they will, you know, present that situation to you and make a decision, you know, accordingly. But it's I can't say enough. I mean, I don't know. Well, I'd probably be living in a tent outside of Musso and Frank if I wasn't here. I mean,
well, you know, to be really honest with you, in recent I won't say years, I'll even say months, but years certainly, I've thought about the motion picture home, and I've thought, I've wondered, I have no idea if I would qualify to even be able to be there at all. But I'm starting to think of those things, because we should think of those things, and you know, time goes on. Yeah.
Time goes on. No, I would say without question. I mean, just knowing, and I'm not the end all here, but because of your involvement in the industry and what you have and the amount of time and all of that, there would be no question in my mind that you would be eligible. That's a given. Oh no, absolutely. I'm sure of that. The rest of it is depending on all of the timing is what's available on this end.
Yeah.
But no, absolutely. They do a hell of a job with the food. I mean, I'm delighted. You know, food, we're also used to uh, going to restaurants and parties and that kind of thing. You know, this is not a restaurant here. This is a whole different lifestyle. It certainly takes a wonderful adjustment, and I've managed to do that. And I appreciate the food. They'll, gosh, if they have it, you've got it. I mean, we have a menu every day.
Okay.
And the menu choices are there, but there's also other choices. And if they happen to have it in the kitchen, you know.
Okay.
I'm fond, for example, I was just talking to one of the wait staff today. I asked her, I said, do you still have that box of matzahs in the kitchen? I said, I keep forgetting to order matzah brei, you know, in the morning for breakfast.
Yeah.
Matzah brei is a very special thing, and it takes, you've got to cook it right and all of that. But just as an example, they're here to please, and you know, I do all I can to send the word out, and folks like yourself participating. And I thought that you would be a very interesting guest for our residents here.
Okay.
And that has proved to be the case. I mean,
okay, great. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. You know, it's a real. I'm so glad to be able to talk to you. You know, it's a benefit for me. You know.
No, that's, and likewise.
Yeah.
Likewise, I must say that. And I also please thank Harlan. Harlan was terrific. Yeah.
Harlan's such a lovely guy. Absolutely. Yeah.
I only know him on the phone.
Yeah.
And,
but you can tell, can't you? Yeah. He's you know, I can't think how long I've known Harlan. It's been a while, but you know, he really cares about the people that he knows and works with. You know, so, and that's really, I find that really kind of exceptional and really quite wonderful. You know, to have people that you work with actually really care about you. You know, because so often, you know, I mean, you know, we've all worked with people who don't feel that way. So it's wonderful when you meet someone who does. You know. Yeah.
No, but he's a gentleman, and I'm just appreciative of his support, and you know, it's really been quite a thing. But when you have an opportunity, you know, come this way.
Absolutely.
Because I must say, in all due respect, again, that it's so different, so special, and I guess the biggest thing is space. You know, there is an adjustment, and it's like anything else, but it's I can't say enough about it.
Yeah,
and
that's Well, again, it's wonderful to hear you because you're on hand's knowledge, but again, I'm sure, and I'm not alone. I've always heard wonderful things about the Motion Picture Home. Always, you know, and that's why I'm repeating myself. That's why in recent months or maybe just a couple of years, I've started to think about, well, what am I going to do? What can I do? What, you know, in time, and that's one of the places. It's the only place that's crossed my mind because it's the only one I know about. But also because I've heard such beautiful things about it, it sounds like a lovely place to be.
Yeah, it's again. I mean, as we say, you know, it's very special. I don't think that there's anything anywhere, not only in this country, but I wonder about the world. I mean, I've seen the place. There's a place that fellow actors will go in England. And, I've sort of seen pictures. It's like an old estate and whatnot, but it's totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different place.
Yeah. Well, you know, when you talk about mentioned that in passing. I think it's kind of like years ago I did a movie with Dirk Bogarde, and when Dirk retired to the south of France, and then just happenstance in his life, people that he cared about in London uh, became ill, and so he had to move back to London to care for them. And I've often thought when I think of Dirk, what a transition it is to move from sunny south of France back to London, and you get those winters that are just the opposite, you know. And if you love the sun and bright skies and everything, that's a huge adjustment in itself. So when you describe this housing facility in England, I would imagine the weather and the basic English way of doing things, and I don't mean that in a bad way, is probably very different what you experience in Woodland Hills.
Oh, yes. I did a show a week or so with Rona Barrett.
Oh, yeah.
And Rona has moved up to the San Ynez Valley, and she's been up there about 25 years.
Uh-huh.
And she has opened up a retirement village. It is absolutely amazing. I took I take my hat off to her.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really
Wow.
quite something. And she left LA about, I don't know, 25 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And I had some friends up there. I knew her here, because she was busy with her columns and whatnot. And so I followed up, and we had friends up in the San Ynez Valley. And so she's there. I'm telling you, God bless her.
Well, absolutely, God bless her. That's wow. What a beautiful thing to hear about her. Mm-hmm. That's really great. It's great.
Really, yeah. No. It's very special.
Yeah, because it shows to me how much she cared about people to do that. You know.
Yeah. No. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, George, I don't know where our time has gone, but it is flown away. I just want to again thank you for taking the time, and hopefully one day I will have the opportunity of meeting you out here, or you'll be out here.
Yeah.
Whatever is fair. Just God bless, and take care of yourself, and
okay.
Please don't stop eating. And I usually sign off with one of my favorite sayings, which is, "Till we eat again."
Oh, yes, I like that. I like that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.